I have a belief, a fundamental belief that has become an of course in my body. And I write about this in my new book, Spiritual Millionaire. There's a chapter called Creating an Of Course. Because, for instance, if you and I wanted to get out of this room, there's an of course in our body for where the door is, right? If the lights went out in any of our houses, no matter how dark it is, we can find that switch because it lives in the body.
Right.
To me, that's some of the most fundamental work, is building a somatic body that can hold everything we say we want,
Right.
and then some.
Yes.
Soma means body, wisdom of the body, right? And so marrying the mind with the body and clearing as much energy and energetic space as possible so that we can be available.
Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and riches blessings, and welcome to Take Back Your Mind. As you know, I'm Michael B. Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, and of course, your host on Take Back Your Mind, where I have the privilege and the honor of speaking with people pretty much every week, individuals who in their own way, their own uniqueness, have taken back their mind from the debris of the world, the laws of scarcity and lack and limitation, and are living a life that is inspiring to others. And so today, in studio with me today, I have Preston Smiles.
Yes.
My brother here. And I'll give you a little something about him on the bio aspect, and then I'll say something else, but unapologetically himself. That's true, though. It is true. Preston Smiles is the epitome of someone who is committed to the work and humanity. He's an abundance coach, thought leader, conscious businessman, a father, aspiring to be a grandfather, inside joke, husband, experiential speaker, and author of his newest groundbreaking books, Spiritual Millionaire, Unlock the 7 Laws of Abundance and Money, and Love Louder, 33 Ways to Amplify Your Life. Since 2005, he's coached over 100,000 people and leads cutting-edge workshops all over the world with his wife, Alexi, winning awards like Millennial Mentor of the Year, gracing the cover of Inspired Coach magazine, and being featured on some of the biggest podcast and media platforms such as Impact Theory, School of Greatness with our friend Lewis Howes. And he's touching the hearts and souls of thousands of people daily through his provocative social media videos and writings. Provocative. That means honest. That means he's going to tell it the way it is. He's going to tell it the way he sees it. He's unapologetically himself, yes. And we love him for that. As Jack Canfield has once said, Preston Smiles is unstoppable. Hey, listen, good to see you, man.
Likewise, likewise. We are in the building.
Together.
Yes.
You flew in.
Yeah, I did.
You haven't been to Los Angeles in about 4 years, you said.
Exactly.
But you lived here before.
I lived here my whole life.
Right. Because I remember seeing you. I remember being at your house.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you at Agape.
Yes.
Is it true that you actually, your first date with Alexi, that's now your wife and the mother of your children, was at Agape?
At Agape. Yep. Yep. I'm this morning, 5:30 a.m. We were in the kitchen. Kids few of them are up, few of them aren't. And we were talking as I was getting dressed, and I was like, isn't it wild that the first place I brought you, because I knew I was coming here,
right,
was to listen to the Rev and to see. I was watching, right? I wanted to see how she was going to take it in and what was going to occur.
That might have been a deal breaker.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. But I remember I walked up, and Kane and Barry were in the front, and they met her, and then when she wasn't looking, they were like, she's hot. And I was like,
I can see them doing that.
Yes, it was so beautiful. But halfway through your sermon, I was like, this is it. I just felt it.
You felt with her that this was it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
and you were correct. How many children do you have now with her? Over this period.
Yes.
I mean, period.
Yes. We have four beautiful children under 6.
Right.
One dog, a bunch of houses, and a bunch of businesses, and all the things, and we hold it together, which
Right.
is really, really cool, and not something I necessarily was like thinking would happen, but like literally we are partners in shine. Like
Right.
we do a
Right.
lot together.
Yeah. No, I watch you. You guys. I mean, she's powerful in her own right. You're both very powerful beings. In some kind of way, you've learned how to spiritually navigate being together, being individuals,
Yes.
but at the same time coming together and presenting powerful teachings to the world. It's been fun watching you.
Thank you.
You know.
Likewise. And I know this is an interview, but I just want to acknowledge you for the pioneer that you've been for all of us. There are so many people whose careers and lives would not be what they are without you going first, without you waving the flag, without you being willing to be unapologetically you, right? And like, as somebody who's, I'm living in a certain type of abundance that, very few people get to swim in, right?
Right.
And I'm holding a lot.
Right.
Right? Different personalities,
Yes,
staff,
yes,
everything,
yes,
kids,
yes.
the whole thing. And as a grown man now, I look back and, I'm in my mid 40s and I go, wow, you've been doing this a long time. You've been doing it when you were a baby.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's absolutely amazing. And I just feel super honored and grateful to be here, to be in this sort of full circle moment at this circle table to bless the people.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you being here. I've been watching you, and yeah, I've been doing it a long time. Agape is in its 38th year,
Jeez.
and I've been teaching over 40 because I was teaching before I established Agape.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to me. But what's beautiful about it is that I look at you and I look at the people that have come on and taken up the vibration, and I realized that when I was doing this years ago, what we were teaching was on the peripheral. Now it's central. It's central conversation.
Yes.
And we need more folks like you to pick up the frequency in your own unapologetic way.
Yes.
Teach and inspire and heal and allow this conversation to be the normal conversation. Because before it was like I was a weirdo. I was attacked, in my line. This guy's crazy, The traditional churches were attacked. Everybody,
Yes.
we were the no-fly zone.
Yeah.
We were the forbidden zone.
Yeah.
And now it's coming into bloom. But tell us a little bit about your early life. And kind of what led you to pursue this particular path, what kind of insights that you have, what were some of the pivotal moments?
Yeah. Well, growing up in LA, especially during the 80s, let's say that the school system wasn't as excited or concerned about especially young black boys. And so
Right.
very early I got pushed into special education.
Right.
And because that's when my nervous system and my psyche were forming, I made up the story that I was dumb, that I was stupid, that I was an outsider, and that there was something wrong with me.
Right.
And as we know, children adapt, right? We're always seeking to receive more love, and sometimes the way a child will adapt, which I did, my parents were so stressed out that I became an out-of-the-way kid. So I pushed sort of most of my needs to the back and figured out a way to not add stress to them while simultaneously dealing with my own toxic shame.
Right.
And so by 11 years old, I had started smoking weed and joined a gang. And interestingly enough, and this is a beautiful shout out to my dad, rest in peace.
Oh, I remember
with his
your dad.
Beautiful soul. He's
Yeah.
a crazy man,
Yeah.
epic human.
Yes, yeah.
My dad, when I was 11, he caught me smoking weed. And he said, I thought he was going to put me on punishment and beat me and all the things. And he said, I'm going to give you 24 hours. And I want you to think about everybody you know who smokes weed. And I want you to come back to me and tell me if you want their life. Because if you do what they do, you're going to have what they have.
Right.
He said, you've been telling me you want to be like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. And so let's find out.
Right.
So 24 hours goes by and I'm 11 in this contemplative space. And He said, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to support you no matter what.
That's powerful.
And I said, yeah, I don't think I want to do that. And he said, okay, so here's the deal. You're a boy, you're in LA, you're going to do stupid stuff, but you are a leader. And if everybody else is going left, but something in you says go right, you will do it every single time. Mm-hmm. And he just poured into me. And you never have one of those moments where it's just like a snapshot in time?
Yeah.
Like I can see it now, right? Fast forward to 15 years old. One of my buddies calls me, yo, let's go out. We used to do these things called runouts where we would go into a liquor store and grab all the alcohol and run out. Right. And my friend Scott called me and he was like, yo, come and pick you up. And I was like, no. Yeah, something was just like no. I couldn't even spell intuition, but there was something that said no, and my dad's voice came back to me. Right. You're a leader. You can choose, right? Long story short, because I didn't go, Scott was in the front seat, and they pulled up to a 7-Eleven in Gardena, and a disgruntled young man looked at them. Some words were exchanged. Scott turned back and was shot in the head and killed, and everybody in that van that I was in the night before that, and the night before that, and the night before that, every single one of them shot.
That night?
That night. And
not by the store owner.
No,
but
by a disgruntled guy who just got out of prison, actually.
Right.
And that was one of the biggest catalyst moments for me.
I can imagine.
Where I had survivor's guilt. I had all kinds of stuff coming up. Like, why did I say no?
Right.
Like, of all days, I didn't say no the day before.
Right.
And so what's been beautiful and interesting, right, about this whole thing, and I have so many other parts to it, including I had a heart condition come up. That's how I got to you. The body remembers what the mind forgets. And so my body had went through all this trauma, right? Big T trauma, little T traumas, complex trauma, all these things I'm navigating as a child. And I get to college barely and get a skin disease, which nobody can figure out. Then I get out and I get back to LA and I have this heart condition thing come up. I go sit in front of this cardiologist and he says, man, you are really young to be in this office. Doctor-wise, I'm going to prescribe you some pills and this is the route we're going to go. Conscious human-wise, diet and stress. And I said, what's stress? And he said, tell me about your life. I said, oh man, my dad's been addicted to drugs most of my life. I felt like I need to save him and my whole family. And he's like, you've been really stressed out. Yeah. And how do you eat? And I said, well, I eat food. And he was like, tell me about food. And I said, Burger King, McDonald's, cheese, everything. And he said, that's not food.
That's not food.
And literally, and I'll end the story here, I walked out of that cardiologist's office and I had a girlfriend at the time named Olivia, who her godmom and that whole crew had been going to Agape. Right. And they all said, listen, one, here's this book by Jerry and Esther Hicks called Ask and It Is Given, which, you know, at the time I wasn't reading, I'm dyslexic. Right. And two, we think you need to go here. And it literally opened up an entire world for me. And again, I can't thank you enough for just who you were as a demonstration.
Wow, thank you. That you just described the question I was asking you, a pivotal moment in your life that shifted your whole path. So a lot of people have a pivotal moment when they get a diagnosis or a prognosis, or their back is against the wall or something to that effect. And you had two of them. You probably had more. Yep. I mean, I'm sure it's intricately connected to many choices you've had made. But the intuition that kept you out of that car. Yes. Your father saying, "Do you want to be like this?" And you actually thought about what he said. You know, and then your heart and stress. It's interesting enough because we're now living in a time in which we have the field of epigenetics, which tells us that only 1% of disease comes from genetics, and 90% comes, and 99 perhaps comes from stress. Yep. That all diseases basically come from stress. And it used to be, medicine used to say, well, your genetic code is going to determine your disease, but now we know that's not so. Real talk. So as soon as you shifted your mindset, your heart set, your nutrition, and everything else, the body said, bloop, yep, here I am. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Not only was it here I am, I literally burst onto the scene in my little world, and people started coming to me and saying, "Hey, man, it's like you're like electric.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Right.
What are you reading? What can I get to be like that?"
Right.
And my skin changed, my vitality, everything came online just based off of switching how I ate and how I was thinking.
Right.
And people asked me so much about this that I created a YouTube channel. And then that channel, which was just pure service, right? We know the fruit doesn't belong to the tree, it belongs to the ecosystem, right?
Right.
And so I didn't have enough conscious awareness back then because there was no such thing as Instagram or influence or any of that. I was just a dude that was so on fire.
Right.
And so grateful for the life that I was experiencing that I wanted to give it back.
Yeah.
Right. And so that turned into keynote speaking and all these different things.
And we used to have those meetups.
The love mobs.
The love mobs.
Exactly.
That was fun, man.
Exactly. The love mob came from all of this.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy that I've been sitting with around the concept of what you want wants you is like how far back that goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm curious to ask you this. Do you believe in like a predestined paths?
I believe there's a field of infinite possibilities, and you have to actually, when your vibration's right, you actually choose that possibility for yourself. It exists already. It's already in existence, but at some point you have to participate in that choice.
Yes.
You have to observe it. You have to see it. You have to say yes to it. You have to do something. It doesn't just happen. But you caught an intuition. You could have said no to that.
Yep.
We couldn't be sitting here today.
Yep.
But you said yes to that. You said yes to the no. So yeah, I think we do have a destiny within us. Just as an avocado seed has a destiny to become an avocado tree if it's in the right condition. So there is I believe there's a destiny within us, but we have to create the condition. Sometimes that condition is a crisis that makes us shift. Sometimes that condition, you were inspired, so you had a combination of crisis. Oh, there's an example. Crisis. Oh, wow, someone gave you a book. So there was a number of things that came together that created a condition for your destiny to unfold.
Yes.
Your destiny.
Yes.
Not somebody else's. You can't be anybody else.
Yes.
I can't be anybody else. So you became you. That's why unapologetically is in your vibe.
Yes.
Yes. And so that's my feeling on that. Yeah,
that's been some of the biggest work for me, just across the board, is removing anything that would block me from being the highest expression of love.
That's it.
Right? In any given moment. And I joke, I had this moment probably 3-4 months ago, and I said I'm gonna write a book called God in a Walmart Bathroom, because I had this moment with my kids where we were leaving a park, and I was like, yo, anybody need to use a bathroom? And they're like, no. And I'm like, none of y'all need to use a bathroom. No. We get in the car, we get on the highway, everybody, I gotta poo-poo, I gotta pee-pee. And I'm like, oh my God.
And you had just asked them.
Yes, so we pull over into a Walmart, and my wife stays in with the youngest one, and I take the 3 in. And we walk in there, and my kids, they don't know certain concepts, right? Those things aren't in there. Dirty isn't in their vocabulary and things like that. So we walk in this Walmart bathroom. I got my little girl and my 2 boys, the twins and Kingston. And we walk in, and there's like 5 different interesting humans in there, right? And I can see the part of me that's like in hypervigilance, right? Protection, watch the kids, make sure to. And so we go into the like handicap stall, and we're all in there. And my daughter goes up and puts her hands on the toilet, and I was like, no! Right? And so now I'm jolting them, right? And I'm like, okay, pee. Breathe, right? First step to me, transformation is breath.
Yeah.
Right? So I just took a moment and I said, let's just recalibrate my nervous system through breath, right? And I lifted her off, and I took a few breaths, and I said, hey, listen, we're going to take turns. Daddy would really appreciate it if you don't touch anything. I'm going to hold you guys over these. Right? And then I became more available.
Right.
And the conversation was, can I see God here too?
Right.
Right? Because it's so easy to see it in the rainbows and the sunshines and the ice cream and the puppies. But can I see it and experience God in a Walmart bathroom?
Right.
And literally I did.
Right.
I by the time we walked out of there, I was vibrating so high. And my kids were skipping around and happy and touching stuff. And I was like, this is the work. This is how you know the work's working.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of how fast I could catch it.
Right,
you know?
right. No, that's it. You see it everywhere.
That.
Yeah, we used to have experiments where we go, I'd send people out to like the worst parts of town or just dilapidated stuff. Stand there and pray until you can see the presence of beauty and God there.
Yes.
And come back, every week. And what they began to discover, these students, after even the conditions started to change. People started mowing their lawn, started painting their houses. Things started happening because somebody was witnessing possibility. They were seeing, God was there.
Yes.
But as you just described, but can you really see it? Because that's the difference between beginning and advance. Beginning is believing and beginning is hypothesis and theories.
Yes.
Advance is actually practicing it.
That.
You practice it with your kids.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. So you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I know in your bio it talks about being a businessman. I like the word entrepreneur.
Yes.
A businessman sometimes has the connotation, not where you're concerned, connotation of just making money.
Yes.
But entrepreneur is a connotation of being creative and creating conditions for a lot of people's benefit.
Yes.
You're entrepreneurial. It's not just, I'm making money. It's actually, I'm making a difference.
That.
So I see you more as an entrepreneurial, spiritual giant.
I receive that.
In that frequency. How would you describe your philosophy? In all that you're doing, your coaching, business, abundance. What would you boil that down to at this point?
Well, there's so much, but I'll start with, I have a fundamental belief that has become a course in my body. And I write about this in my new book, Spiritual Millionaire. There's a chapter called Creating an Of Course. Because, for instance, if you and I wanted to get out of this room, there's an of course in our body for where the door is, right? If lights went out in any of our houses, no matter how dark it is, we can find that switch because it lives in the body.
Right.
To me, that's some of the most fundamental work is building a somatic body that can hold everything we say we want,
right,
and then some.
Yes.
Soma means body, wisdom of the body, right? And so marrying the mind with the body and clearing as much energy and energetic space as possible so that we can be available, right? My truth is that the universe is looking for willing channels to pour through.
Oh, absolutely.
And so in my work around abundance, and it's abundance and nervous system, right?
You speak my language, I love it.
It's the most important stuff in the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And oftentimes, like, you think about it, right? 9.5 years ago, I was a surf instructor making $36,000 a year. And I'm going to say to all of this, the disclaimer that the stuff doesn't mean much to me.
I understand.
It's awesome. I play with it. I love it, right? Because it's just God expressing itself. Right. But I'm going to speak in actual numbers because I think even to me,
it'll help.
In the spiritual community, there's this like, we can do meditation, but we can't talk about money.
We can't have money.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right? And so 9.5 years ago, I was making $36,000 a year. And I had this epiphany in an ayahuasca ceremony where I was looking around after the medicine had gone away, and I was like, this has become easy for me. This is where I feel comfortable. My work is to be the most available, right? As you say, a unique emanation of the Most High, right? Where is the work for me? And I instantly got hit with a lightning bolt. The work is in business and money. Building an identity that says that this thing is possible. For me, $36,000 a year, surf instructors who's like flirting with coaching and trying to like get in there. I still had an identity of the little boy born in Compton, the dumb kid that was placed in special education.
Right.
And so my biggest work from there to now, I wake up every day on a 4-acre compound
Right.
with 3 different houses on it.
Right.
And a whole, I know all the butterflies and,
Right,
and
right,
the
right.
whole thing,
I've
right?
seen it.
It's a whole world. And every time I look up and I go, you know what? While this is beautiful, it's just Tuesday for me. And it's Tuesday because before I ever had it in form, I had it in consciousness.
Absolutely.
Right? I had been a spiritual millionaire before the money ever showed up.
Yes.
Right? And so to me, that's the invitation. It's both and. It's bow my head, move my feet.
Yes.
Right? And when I'm bowing my head, I'm doing it from the context of knowing that there is a God, my truth, that wants the best for me.
Yes.
And so the wealth is not in the dollars. The wealth is in the things that we use.
Right.
And this is the last part I'll say. I've been teaching a lot of my clients. I have a program called the Abundance Reset. And I explained to them that the very shirts that we have on, the pants, this was mine 30 years ago. It was always going to be mine.
Right.
Right. That house that I wake up in every day.
Right.
That thing was built 22 years ago.
Right.
They didn't know that they were building it for me
you.
too. Right. So it's what you seek is seeking you. Right. I will be a steward of all of it.
Right.
For the sake of doing it, because what else am I going to do? Right.
Right.
And if it's going to help support in me being a beacon, a light, a vessel for other people to see theirs, then I'll do it.
Right.
Right. Because what else?
Right.
That's my work.
Yeah. You've basically brought the whole metaphysical, mystical understanding and applied it in your own life and demonstrated it and manifested it. So it's not just like when you speak, you're speaking from, this is what I'm doing. Now this is what I want to do. And I've always appreciated that. But I've watched you take off. I've said, this boy. But even when I was at your house years ago, I could see your light. I could see it. And sometimes, I used to say this years ago, I could go places and I can listen to people speak and I could immediately tell the difference between those that know about it and those that know it. And those that know about it can motivate, you know what I mean? It's just saying all the right stuff.
Yes.
But it's like, they're gonna know it one day.
Facts.
And that it, which is indescribable, intangible, it's real, that's what's got a hold of you, from your father, from your intuition, from your heart, from all the places that inspired you.
Yes.
You have galvanized it in a way that is touching a lot of people. It's very beautiful. And
that means a lot.
And you're a black man. And I remember back in the day, they would always say, "There's no more people like you out here. You're the only one." And you're lifting a whole. You're changing all kinds of stereotypes. The black boy from Compton that was dumb, is now a rich man, 4 children, a wife, driving. How many cars you got?
4.
4 cars. You don't drive them all at the same time, but
Yes.
But you got a lot of toys.
I do.
You got toys, and that's how you view them. So you view them as just, these are just toys. I'm not attached to them.
They'll come and go. They'll belong to someone, or
Yeah. I remember this guy that used to work for Frank Sinatra was telling this story about Frank Sinatra, and he said, well, Frank Sinatra was doing this big concert. He was the last one to leave the concert venue, and there was a woman that had been waiting there a long time. And his security was trying to get him away from her. He said, no, I want to talk to her. So she says, my husband is at home with cancer. He loves you. Can you just sign this? That's all I wanted, your signature. So he signed it. Then he took off his cufflinks and said, give this to your husband. Tell him I'm holding him in prayer. And his guy said, those are your favorite cufflinks, man. What are you doing? He said, that card, these cufflinks, they're going to belong to somebody else one day when I leave. I might as well give them away now.
Exactly.
So you're speaking like that. The toys, enjoy them, have them, love them. One day that house is going to belong to somebody else.
Correct.
Somebody else might be wearing this.
Correct.
It might be in Goodwill. You never know. So you're also dealing with non-attachment,
That
not
part.
not detachment. Detachment is I don't care. Non-attachment is I'm going to live it to the fullest, but I'm not attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're describing.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So let's break down those 7 laws
Mm-hmm.
in your book.
Yep.
7 inner laws of abundance.
Yes.
Spiritual millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break those down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them will be familiar to you. It's just I switched them up a little bit, and
You Prestonized it.
exactly. So, for instance,
Presto change.
one of the spiritual laws I call the law of the ant and the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
We actually put ourselves in a position where the very abundance that we're calling in cannot come.
Right.
Right? If I make like for instance, one of the toys that I'm choosing to play with at some point is a purple Lamborghini, right? Like I'm saying,
Right.
I don't have it now, right?
But you're preparing.
I'm preparing, exactly. I'm calling it in, right? It may take a few years or however long it's going to take, but I'm calling it in. The beauty is that I don't make that Lamborghini anything, I don't make it any bigger
Right.
than any of the other stuff.
Right,
It's
right.
all relative,
Right.
right? So when my child wakes up, and many of them do often in the middle of the night, and I'm in there doing like this or, rubbing somebody, I treat that with the same level of reverence as I do the bigger things in my life. And so the invitation for people is to begin to fall in love with their current life as it is.
Absolutely.
In such a way that it's like, this is exactly
Absolutely.
what I wanted.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then everything has a gestation period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We plant those seeds. It has to do its thing. It has to germinate. And so understanding, and this is another one of the laws, is there's a time for planting and sowing and a time for reaping.
Right.
And so getting out of trying to make one or the other be the case, and understanding that those things are overlapping at all times, right? There is so much possibility and so much magic occurring in any given moment.
Yes.
And I heard you say this recently, that the best ability is availability.
Yes.
Right?
You got to be available.
That.
Yes.
Right? So those are some. The law of course, right? Teaching people how to get into the vibration and offer the vibration before the manifestation.
Absolutely.
Right? To begin to scan one's life and start to see the miracles in the person opening the door at the Starbucks. Start to understand that when certain things get shut down or closed off, and I'll give you an example, right? I was working with this woman recently who was a healer in Arizona, and she was saying, hey, the rent's going up, and I just don't understand why I'm so bad with money, and I'm so bad with money. And I said, well, let's find out. I said, I'm going to say her name is Connie for this. I said, Connie, as long as you've been on this earth, and I believe you're in your 50s, correct? She said, yes. I said, as long as you've been on this earth, have you ever slept on the streets? She's like, well, no. I said, Connie, as long as you've been on this earth, have you never eaten? Like, has there been a night where you just could not eat because there was no food?
Right.
Well, no. Connie, has there ever been a time where you couldn't get clean drinking water?
Right.
No. Connie, has there ever been a time where you couldn't go to the movies?
Right.
No. Right? I go through a series of like 15 questions.
Right.
And then I get to, okay, now let's go directly to the money conversation. I said, okay, you've been on this earth about 53 years. How many of those years have you been paying your own rent or mortgage? She said, well, probably 25, 30 of them. It's all fantastic. I said, if we had to guess how much money has gone through your account to go pay those things,
Right.
what do you think it would be? She was like, probably $500,000,
At
if
least.
not more. Exactly, right? And so this is
I love it.
This is the opening for people to understand that they're not bad with money. This is a mental construct that no longer serves them.
Right.
They're not actually looking with the eye behind the eye, right? And
right.
so we gotta really look, right? In Conversations with God, it says what you resist persists,
Right. Right.
and what you look at, truly look at, disappears.
Disappears. Yeah.
Right? And so the big work is to create an of course and to actually see reality with a capital R.
Yes.
not the BS reality we've been fed, right? And so this is some of the
just
laws.
make up with the lies we tell ourselves.
That.
Right.
And a lot of the book is going to be focused around embodiment practices.
Is the book already available?
It will be.
Okay, all right. This is your latest one.
Yes.
It's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out in August. If you're watching this after August, it's out right now. If you're watching this before August, go to PrestonSmiles.com/book. I got so much magic there.
Right.
But we're in process.
Yeah.
And you know what's amazing about books? Because I've read that one. Like you have a gift, man. So many people, and I know you know this, so many people use your work as like launching pads.
Yes.
I've literally read at least 6 to 7 books where I'm like, oh, this is for sure from Michael Beckwith. This is for sure.
Listen, my staff tells me that all the time.
I'm like,
he said,
I know where this came from.
Yeah, they'll say, well, at least this person gave you credit.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
something like that.
So
I'm not into it. I don't care. It bothers other people more than it bothers me.
Correct.
Yeah.
That stuff has been happening.
I just want to get it out there.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And you know, it's one of the highest compliments people say to me often where they're like, you know, you have this thing like, it sort of like feels like Beckwith. And I was like, yes, I can see how it would, right? And I'm carving my own path as well. But just
yes, you are.
Going back to the book thing, for me, and this is my 3rd book that I've written. The other 2 were by Simon & Schuster. This one I'm publishing myself.
Oh, great.
Every time I go to write a book, it's like I won't say use the word tested on it, but like the book starts to write me, you know? And it's this really interesting thing that I get offered whenever I say, I'm going to teach this.
You're right. Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's got to come through you first. You get the first blessing.
That.
But you also get the first clearing.
Yes. Yes.
I want to go back to this other point because I think it's very important because I try to bring people to the same awareness, and that is gratitude for the life you already have. Now, some people will say, they'll be complaining, but I am grateful for the house I have. But they're not really.
No.
They're just saying the words. I am grateful. I remember when I first got this apartment, I really loved it. I really want something different now. I'm grateful for it though.
Yeah.
But underneath, they're not.
That.
And that's creating a hindrance, right? A block.
100%.
You have to really be in the gratitude.
Yes, because the universe doesn't speak English.
Right.
It speaks frequency.
Frequency is your currency.
That.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you try to bring them into, and sometimes they will resist. So no, by you being grateful for what you have, you're not telling the universe that's all you want.
Correct.
But you are opening up gratitude to be available for more to show up in your life.
Yes.
If you are complaining, you just lowered your frequency. That's exactly what I wanted to go back to that because you taught it.
Yes.
But I wanted people to hear it powerfully because there are people out there thinking, "Oh, I'm grateful for the car I'm driving. I'm grateful for the apartment, but I really want this, but I really want that." You get so-called that if you really are grateful for what you have.
Correct.
You have to simmer in it.
Correct. That's one of the things that I believe I'm really good at is being moved by life, right? Like actually letting it penetrate and permeate one's soul, right? You introduced me to somebody recently. You don't know you did this. I was watching this podcast and you said the words about somebody named Reverend Ike.
Yeah.
And I was like, so, I'm sure you have, but you ever just get hit with a lightning bolt? I've listened to all kind of stuff, and I don't go and go in, right?
Right.
But as soon as you said it, and the way you were talking about it with whoever, it was 2 other people,
Mark Victor Hansen and his son Xavier.
That. I was watching that podcast,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, I feel like I gotta type this person's name in right now.
Right.
I think I pulled the car over. I think that's where it was like that crazy.
That was a moment.
Seriously. I literally, and then I went down the rabbit hole, and I was blown to pieces. It felt
Talk about a pioneer.
It felt like you, like you know how there's certain people throughout history that come and just literally blaze a trail.
Yeah.
That dude was so in the pocket.
Yeah.
And
maligned and criticized
everything.
And talked about.
So I went down the rabbit hole, and I just want to say thank you for introducing me to Reverend Ike as well.
Do you have his the book that we were talking about? The autobiography, the biography written by his son and Mark?
No, I do not have
I'm
that
gonna give
one.
it to you.
Okay, I don't have that. I bought one of his other books, and I watched thousands of hours, and like,
I had the privilege of knowing him, and had the privilege of speaking at his memorial service when he passed over. He was definitely a pioneer. And just as we're doing, and as you're doing, just taking the universal principles and letting them come through you according to you.
Yes.
And he's the one who actually, you probably heard it in the podcast, actually got Mark Victor Hansen started.
Yes, I
opened
did
up his mind.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're in the lineage now.
Yeah. I loved it. I was like, yes, another black man that is standing 10 feet tall.
Right.
It just warmed my soul. So thank you for that, and thank you again for just going first. There's such a thing, because it's the scariest steps, right?
Yeah, it is.
It takes bravery.
Listen, I remember the day, a week before I actually had the first service at Agape. I'd been teaching, I'd been doing workshops, seminars, I'd been doing a whole lot of stuff. And I got a message from the ancestral realm that what I was doing was good, but it was just okay. That we want you to start a community. And I was like really avoiding it. And finally I gave in. I'm not going to go into the whole story. But the week before, I was standing in Silmar conference grounds. And two people came up to speak to me. One person came up and said, "You're starting Agape next week. You quit your job. You have 2 children. I couldn't have done that. You don't even know what the future holds for you. You just quit your job and you're starting something." And he says, "I couldn't do it." I said, "No, I'm the one called." I said, "I have to do it." It's like there's no wiggle room here.
Yes.
I have to do this. I'm called to do this, and I'm going to do it. And then the other person came up to me, and she was very excited. "Oh my God, you quit your job. You're starting Agape. This is going to be great." They both represented different parts of me. You know, one represented, "I just quit my job. I don't have any money."
Yes.
You know? And the other one represented, "You quit your job. You're going out on faith and conviction."
Yes.
And of course,
yes,
leaned into that part of me.
I talk about a lot about that in the book around. There's the quote by the Gnostic Gospels of Thomas: "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you.
Right.
If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." Right.
I love that.
And how much and how important it is to make room for our gifts.
Yes.
Right. And so in my coaching, a lot of times I'll say, "Hey, we're going to sidestep your personality for now." Right. We're going to move past the personality and go straight to what the soul wants. Right. Because the soul, there's body, mind, and soul, right?
Yeah.
Threefold beings.
Yeah.
Right. The mind can be saying one thing, the body can be on one frequency, and the soul always knows.
Yes.
Always knows what the truth is.
Yes.
And so, getting out of one's way and making room for that thing that wants to come forward. Not only will it save you, it will elevate you in ways you didn't know were possible. People ask me all the time, "Hey, did you dream this life?" No. I did not.
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't actually dream it. I just got in alignment with the truth.
Yes.
And
that's
dreams.
one of my favorite words, by the way. Alignment. Coming into alignment with it.
It's literally created stuff I didn't know was possible for me.
Right.
Right. I wasn't the big dreamer kid. I was a little dirty, little hood rat kid in LA who was awesome. Right. I was a leader and amazing and beautiful and all those things, but I never saw this life.
Yeah.
Right. But
within that small paradigm,
correct,
you were living that life.
Yes.
But you just shattered that paradigm.
Correct.
It's like an analogy I use sometime. It's when you have a chick that's in an egg. All of its needs are met, has a protective shell, and then it starts to grow. It starts to pollute its environment. Resources run out. And from limited consciousness, it might say, "Please give me a bigger egg." But it pecks, and it comes out into a world that the chicken doesn't even know exists.
Yes.
That's what we're asking people to do.
Yes.
There's a part of your personality, as you just said, doesn't even know this wider life exists. It only
Correct.
knows, the limited points of view.
Yes.
But your soul knows all of this.
That part.
And that's where we want to live.
That.
Yeah.
One of the things that I talk about in the book is when something is up for us, we're going downhill at that point, right? And so giving the body and the mind the opportunity to actually ride that wave. Because a lot of times what happens is, especially in the spiritual community, is something will pop up and we'll go, oh, that's materialistic, or oh, that's not, I'm not that kind of person, and we'll push it away. But to me, anything that ever comes up for any human, right? Like I'm in a season where marriage is really big for me.
Well, aren't you married?
I am. But
you just now getting there?
Yeah.
After 4 kids?
Seriously, I have gotten destroyed in the best way, right? Through like, what does it mean to be a attuned husband?
Yeah.
Right? But the fact that it's up means it's here to be experienced. It's the wave is to be ridden. Right? And a lot of times we deny and suppress and push away things because we don't have the identity.
Yeah.
And so the work is to sidestep the personality and say yes to the yes.
Yeah.
That once it's up, that's a yes. We're going downhill.
Yeah.
It is literally in process.
When you describe downhill, you're talking about momentum?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Not going down.
No.
You're talking about
downhill in the best way.
like basketball.
Yes.
They're going downhill. They're about to dunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's, to me, another like opportunity and invitation for all of us is to recognize because a lot of people think they're special, right? They think they're special in their wounds and their trauma.
Oh yeah. They wear the badge of survival and things like that. Yeah.
And I often say, we're unique, but we're not special, right? I spent so much time thinking I was especially messed up, especially traumatized, right? The rich people stuff is for those kind of people. I'm
different.
I don't come from that. Yes,
Yeah.
right. I'm not special.
Right.
I'm unique.
Right.
And the work is to genuinely get that there is something handwritten on each of our souls that is beckoning, calling, waving flags, saying, come on, get me. Come on, experience me. Come on, give me to the world. And the highest gift we can give to humanity is to say yes to that calling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that actually changes the world. I mean, when you get into the quantum physics, people don't understand that once you change and vibrate at a higher frequency, you're affecting the entire world. Because the world is the condensation of thoughts, beliefs, opinions, points of view that's condensed itself into a worldview that gets replayed on television, social media.
Yes.
But when you opt out of that world and are vibrating differently, just you sitting here is changing the world. Just you swimming in your pool. Do you have a pool?
I do.
Yeah. Just you swimming in your pool, you're changing the world. People don't understand that.
Yes.
Yeah. This is powerful. I like to say, based on that, we're not special, but I say that when you look at somebody and you say, well, he's special. He's, even in good special. I say, no, they've specialized.
Yes.
They're not special. They specialize. If you look at Kyrie Irving dribbling. He spent hours dribbling.
Yes.
You see somebody playing the piano.
Yes.
They didn't just wake up. I mean, there are people that are savants that remember from their past life and can wake up and do it.
Yeah.
But most people spend hours, hours, and then they play music, and then music starts to play them, and they say, "Oh, they're special." No, they specialize.
Yes.
Yes. And so, what you're inviting people here through your next book is to specialize in this vibrational uplift.
Yes.
This new interior design, your own interiority, to redesign it with a higher frequency. And then people will say, oh, he's special. And you'll say, no, I've specialized.
Correct.
I actually got down and chopped some wood. I absolutely carried some water. I actually meditated.
Yes.
I actually did some things. Yeah. And so you're an example of that. I mean, everything you shared, from the smoking of marijuana all the way up to present moment, you didn't share it all. I mean, we only have 50, 60 minutes, but you shared a lot. Any more on the book that's going to come out? And then I just segue into your the 32 ways to amplify your life too.
Yes.
That book's already out.
It is already out. I would rather most people get the Spiritual Millionaire one because I think it's so potent. And
plus, it's your latest.
It is, exactly.
And you're different.
Right? One of the things, and this is just more on a personal note, one of the things I've been really good at is not holding things too precious and just jumping in. But with this book, I've taken my time, right? I'm really sitting in it, and asking myself, what do I want to convey? How, if this was the last thing I ever wrote, what's the frequency in which I want this to reach into people's souls?
Right.
And so this is specifically for the spiritual community, the coaching transformational community, those of us, because there's so many that are such beautiful, epic humans that shy away from success because they don't think it's for them. And so, you know, I often say in my workshops, you can't intervene in a world you can't see. And so doing as best we can to look at ourselves objectively or pull out and go, okay, so what is this? Because we're all in relationship with nervous systems, right?
Yeah.
So what is my nervous system doing on a day-to-day basis? What am I vibration am I offering in traffic? What vibration am I offering in a Walmart bathroom? Right? What vibration am I offering as it pertains to? Because a lot of times people will segment, and this is one of the teaching points in the book. They'll say, and I'll be coaching someone, and I'll say, okay, so you have come here for abundance and particularly money, because most people think abundance is money. It's not, right? However, this is a segment from which you find yourself to not be as practiced, right? Like Kyrie and the pianist. Where else in your life? Point to one place right now where you are in pure embodiment.
Yes.
And they'll say, oh, well, that's easy in parenting or dancing or X, Y, and Z. And I'll say, okay, the same principles that you used for that and that apply here.
Right.
What we focus on expands.
Right.
What we appreciate appreciates. Right? So where we focus on abundance, where we create a relationship with money, where there isn't as much static on the line. In order to do that, I'd have to be in the practice, yes, mindset, but also my body has to have the signal that I'm safe.
Right.
Most people have been so traumatized over their lifetimes that it's trauma stacked on trauma stacked on trauma, and the body's a living library that stores everything we've ever been through. And so there isn't enough space for what they're calling in.
Right.
Right? Some of the biggest work. This is why agape is so amazing, because whether they know it or not, if you enter into a building, right, with the same intention, everybody has the same intention, and you lift up physically, you lift up energetically, you lift up emotionally. Every single time you do that, you clear space, you clear energetic space. And with that space, right, in real estate, location. With that space, we can do a lot.
Right.
I am the living proof of this.
Yes.
And I want to support people in doing the same.
Absolutely. You covered a lot of material there, because we want to be spacious. Like when the static is off the line, then the static, the sea of mental garbage, all of that is dissolved. And now we're a place through which all of this good, this love, this peace, this joy, this wisdom, this harmony, this abundance can flow through. I like the word space, you know, and we have to learn not only to take up space, but to be the spaciousness. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. And it goes back to the gratitude factor again, holding that space for gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude and what you've described is actually a practice. It's like people brush their teeth every day, we hope, but are they practicing this every day? Are they just as diligent as to being grateful for the smallest thing as they are worrying about whatever's happening in their life?
Let me tell you one more story, just real quick.
Please.
So let's call this 2007. I did psilocybin mushrooms for the first time.
2007?
Yes, 2007 in Joshua Tree, California. And while I was out there experiencing these plants, this mushroom from the ground, I had this profound, like overwhelming in the best way experience of joy, right? And while I was in that psychedelic experience, I asked the question, how can I implement this into the rest of my life? How can I integrate this without the mushrooms, without the assistance of the plant medicine into my life? And so I went back literally the next day, back to LA, and I put these alarms, and I called them the joy alarms. Now, I have hundreds of thousands of people doing this right now, but I set 5 to 7 alarms every day. And every time the alarm goes off, I would burst into spontaneous joy. Just feel alive, right? Just, and I'd use my like sound and the body and
That's
everything.
Great. That is so
right?
great.
And literally, it got to the point where I didn't need the alarms anymore.
I know.
Because I built a normal, right? Like the baseline
Yes.
of my body
Yes.
was here,
Yes.
right? And so I have my students do this. I talk about it in the book. There's a whole chapter on play and celebration.
Yes.
And being intentional about it.
You are my brother.
Yes. You live this. You are this.
You are my brother, man. 'Cause I have people do very similar things. Like every hour on the hour, go into gratitude. Or lately, I've been saying, this is, first of all, let me just commend you on that. If you're bringing that many people into that vibrational frequency, you're changing the world, not only their own lives. Yeah, that's powerful. I've been asking the congregation lately to put on their to-do list, 2 o'clock, deliberate kindness. And whoever you're with, I mean, it can be whatever time, because we got all these things we have to do. I got this meeting, I got to call this person, I'm on this podcast, Zoom. Put on there 1:30 deliberate gratitude, 3 o'clock deliberate kindness. And so whoever you're with on your to-do list, you do something kind for that person.
I got to take that. I got to take
the
that.
kindness, it's not nice. It doesn't mean being nice.
Yes.
It means you're actually doing something that's going to alter that person's life.
Oh, that's so good.
Even if it's just taking out your wallet and giving them $10 or I'm paying for your lunch today.
Yes.
Or whatever. And build that muscle, kindness, gratitude, so that it becomes our new norm.
Yes.
Is being kind. And I came into the office a couple of weeks ago. I just gave everybody a $100 bill, and the staff, and they were like, "What is this for?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "Nothing. I just want you to feel. I just want you to feel this. I want you to just feel this vibration.
Yes.
How did you feel when you received that?" It's like, "Oh, I'm excited." Okay, just be that. When you answer the phone, when a person calls on the phone, be that energy. When you meet somebody, just be that. That's all I want you to do. You don't have to pass the money on, but pass the frequency on.
That. In Conversations with God, there's a line, I'll never forget it because I almost dropped the book. He said, "You can't have what you want, but you may experience what you have."
Yeah.
Right? That is exactly what you are inviting people into. I love that. Yeah. I'm gonna have to implement it.
Come on, take it.
Like I know you, the ideas, dude.
Amplify it.
There's so much you have brought to the table. That is so good. Yeah. Deliberate kindness.
Yeah.
I love that on every single level. I have a challenge, a free challenge called the I Receive Challenge, and it's all about the other side of that, which is just actually letting things land.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Right. Even a compliment.
Yes. Everything.
Just receive it. Not like don't push it away.
Yes.
No, I don't deserve it. No, don't push it away. It's like I can remember earlier in my life, I was getting awards, but I didn't quite receive them properly. I was really young, and it was like, well, why am I getting this award? What is this? And some of them I didn't actually receive, because I wasn't into that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then later on, I matured, and I said, you know what? I have to receive this. Not only, I have to honor even the people who are trying to give me this blessing.
Yes.
Yes. And now I receive everything. Just like, thank you, and I'm honored to be with you. I'm honored that you see whatever I'm doing is great, and it's receptivity, because that was, in the earlier days I was working through personally receiving. I could give to the max, but it was like I had to do something really good to receive. I had to be worthy. I had to work on my own self-worth. Yes. And then when Michael fell in love with Michael, it was like, bring it on. Bring it on, universe. Bring it on through whoever you want to bring it through. Yes. I don't care. Yes. It's not my job.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I got upgraded my, I rented a car to come here. And they said, you don't have your credit card with you because I don't carry credit cards with me. So you got a debit card. So that thing, the BMW, whatever thing you wanted, we can't give you. We can only give you a minivan. And I said, perfect. Right. And he started going through the process, and he said, you know what? You want the BMW? I said, I'll take it. He said, I got you. it's because I was a vibrational
Yeah.
minivan, Ferrari.
Didn't care.
If it drives,
Right.
I receive. Right.
He probably was shocked
Yes.
at your reaction. He thought you were going to be a disgruntled
Correct.
Customer.
Correct.
Well, I got a debit card. I can afford this. Why can't I have the? He thought you were going to go down that path. He just said, "Thank you. I'll take the minivan."
Yep.
Minivan, cool.
Yep. Exactly.
And the energy just shifted. I got to give this brother the BMW.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love that. I love it. I love it. Yeah, one of the things I want to do is interview you on my podcast, and I'm going to do a bonus chapter that's going to be through video of people I consider to be spiritual millionaires. And for me, you're one of the ones that have always been on the list because of how you stand in abundance across the board. Across the board, man. Yeah, I'm just super grateful.
I live in, the vibration I live in is all my needs are always met.
Yes.
That's just where I hang. Even if it gets dicey for a second, I don't let that go. When I go to sleep or wake up, and sometimes both, I'll scan my body, bless bottom of my feet to the top of my head.
Yes.
And then I say, I am so grateful that I'm living in the vibrational timeline of being totally fulfilled, harmoniously prosperous, totally healthy, totally in joy, and of great service. But I'm living there now, just as you've just described.
Yes.
And it becomes the new norm. It keeps going more and more and more and more and more. Yeah.
It's also evidence-based, right? Like I said with the Connie woman, she had evidence her whole life that she was always taken care of.
Right.
And yet the mind was trying to trick her to tell her that she was bad with money and that it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, somebody was talking the other day, and I was trying to get them on track, but they were a little emotional about it. And they said, I've paid over $200,000 in the place I'm now living. The landlord, he's received over $200,000 from me. And I'm thinking, that's a blessing.
Yes.
Don't complain about that. The fact that you actually have paid $200,000, where did you get that $200,000 from?
Yeah, exactly.
Where did that come from? Go back to that source and get some more.
For real.
Don't complain that you had to put out $200,000. Be grateful that you could do it.
Yes.
Now say, I used to be a teacher up in the Bay Area. Used to say, "Thanks God, send more."
Yes.
I used to say that all the time.
I do that every time, every day, every morning that I wake up. And oftentimes it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m., almost always up by 5:30 because of the kids. But the moment I have any bit of consciousness, I go into allowing myself to be emotionally involved with what is seeking me, right? Because we don't always. Sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's a feeling. I let myself become emotionally involved. The first moment that I have any bit of consciousness, because there's not as much static on the line, right?
Oh yeah, that's when you do it. Going to bed and waking up.
Yep.
Tell us how people can get in touch with you.
Yes.
And anything else you feel, because basically, obviously, see, I didn't look at any of this. We just we just flowed.
It's all good.
I will ask you one other question first. This program is called Take Back Your Mind, and you've described a lot of what you do already. What is your go-to to take back your mind when the world seems a bit overwhelming?
Well, one of the mantras that I repeat to myself is love will find a way. Everything else will find an excuse.
Oh, I like
and
that.
So
as soon as you said love will find a way, I heard Lionel Richie. Remember that song, Love will find a way?
Yes. Lionel Richie. He's come here? He's come to Agape.
No, but a lot of his friends have.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. So for me, it's a reminder that if I say I love it, I'll find a way. Anything else will be an excuse. And not to go too far down the teaching rabbit hole, but one of the frameworks that I teach from is that there's 4 aspects of what it means to be human. We are biological beings, we are linguistic beings, we are social and historical beings, and we're quantum beings. Social and historical is we've been born into beliefs and interpretations.
Right.
And so you can't intervene in a world you can't see. I will have my clients write down all the beliefs and interpretations they were born into, from how a man should be, how a woman should be, what money is, root of all evil, doesn't grow on trees, all the different things. And then I had them look at that list and ask themselves, do I still choose in?
Right.
Right? So that's, to me, instantly you take back your mind.
You help them opt out.
Correct.
Yeah.
When you can see, this is not who I am, this is who I became.
Right.
This is social and historical programming.
Right.
Before the age of 7, my nervous system and psyche were formed before the age of 7. And so this isn't mine. This is my dad's 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 dad's.
Right.
This isn't mine.
This is society.
Yes, this is CNN. This is, Fox News.
Constant negative news.
That, all that, right? So for me, it's about disassociating. That's the big key. Yeah. Disassociate from the thought.
Right.
Look at it, examine the thought, and ask yourself, do I choose it?
Yes. And that's it. That's becoming conscious.
Mm-hmm.
That's waking up. Because what you can tell the difference between the content that's flowing through your mind and who you are, that's waking up. Oh, that's not me. That's a belief. That's a point of view. That's a perception. That's an interpretation of an experience.
Yes.
That's not me. I am awareness. This has been good, man. What you've given more than your words is a vibration and a frequency that, I'm inspired. Just hanging out here with you today.
Yeah, we're going. I love it.
So this is Preston Smiles. He's going to tell us now how you can be in contact with him and again, his latest offering and when it will be available.
Yes. First and foremost, thank you for your time, your love, and your attention. Birds of a feather always flock together. So we see you, I see you. If you would like to purchase the book and get all of the bonuses and amazing stuff that I have, go to prestonsmiles.com/book. There you will find everything you need. And if you're watching this on social media or something like that, just at Preston Smiles.
So that's where you're at Preston Smiles?
Yep.
Isn't that easy? Okay, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I like the in studio.
Yes.
I love the Zoom. I love technology. I love how we use it properly, but I like being in person.
Absolutely.
It's sweet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Now you have a feeling tone of taking back your mind, so that your mind and your heart are connected and in alignment with the destiny that's loaded and coded within you to unfold that you can be the authentic and real you. Peace and blessings, and have a beautiful, beautiful day, evening, afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. We're in the now together. Have a beautiful you. Welcome to the Take Back Your Mind meditation portion of this program. This happens every time I have a podcast because meditation is fundamental, it's foundational to taking back your mind, to putting yourself in a position to having insights and revelations that can change your life and change the trajectory of your life experience. It is wonderful to study, it's wonderful to read, it's wonderful to forge a very powerful affirmative belief system. It is wonderful. But meditation is the practice. Meditation is when you practice so that you can embody what you're believing and what you're studying and what you are hearing when you come to Agape or other spiritual communities that are about awakening. So we're going to practice the art and science of meditation for a few moments. Because as I like to say, we don't want to leave home without it. We always want to begin to have some level of introspection so we're not just pulled by the world of effects and circumstances, conditions, people, places, things. We don't want to be at the victim of the swirling that's happening in the world. We want to be available to transformational knowledge, creative intelligence, unconditional love, and to be available to that truth that's within us, by the way. Meditation is the key that opens that door. I invite you to close your outer eyes and to turn within. Turning within means taking your attention away from the world of effects and appearances, taking your attention away from futurizing, and settling into an awareness of such gratitude that we exist at all. Come into this space with me. We're just grateful that we are alive. Now, with your attention, find something to be grateful for assistance. And it doesn't matter what it is. Something that the mind may call small or something that the mind may call large. It is the feeling of gratitude that's most important. Just be grateful. And with our attention, embracing the feeling tone of gratitude, gratitude becomes our intention. We are intentionally being grateful. This gratitude, this feeling tone, is creating an availability to the progressive nature of the universe, the friendly universe, to pour through us more good than we can imagine. Your attentiveness is on the feeling tone of gratitude, and gratitude is your intention that you're now in alignment with. If the attention hops around, bring it back to the feeling of gratitude. Sit with this. Sit in gratitude. Sit in thanksgiving. Sit in appreciation. You are recalibrating your nervous system to gratefulness, where it may have been vibrating with fear, flight, worry. It's now becoming recalibrated to just being grateful. Your parasympathetic system is now vibrating at all is well. Survival, scarcity is dissolving that mindset. And the mindset and the heart set of abundance, all needs met, and so much to be grateful for is being magnified. Feel into this. And we let it be. And so it is. You slowly open your eyes. Allow for that expanded awareness of gratitude to be infused in every step you take, to be infused in your inspired thought, your sacred conversations, and your actions, deeds, and behaviors. How would a totally grateful person act and speak. Live into that today. Have a beautiful day. I appreciate your letters and emails that you've been sending in, but also the notes you're sending on the Instagram and on the website, thanking me for Take Back Your Mind. And I thank you for your support. As I've said before, if you want to support Take Back Your Mind, support the sponsors. The main sponsor is the Agape International Spiritual Center, agapelive.com. We have a Facebook presentation, an Instagram presentation, a YouTube presentation, and a website presentation. You can donate to the sponsor at agapelive.com. It's one way that you can donate. It supports the podcast. Second sponsor is Nutrarise.com. You go to Nutrarise.com, those 3 lines up at the top, you touch that line, and you'll get Adaptozen. Adaptozen are my products. The Super Green Superfood Greens and the vitamin D3 K2. Both extremely good for your health, your nutrition. You support the sponsors, you're supporting the podcast. Have a beautiful, and as I like to say, a bright day, luminous day, because you are a luminous being. Peace and blessings. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in taking back your mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind, and you will take back your life.